Gaurav, finally the day has come. Nevertheless, a start today for waging war against the country, for brainwashing young men and women. Yasin Malik convicted today.
A very dangerous mind, a very dangerous terrorist, Yasin Malik, involved in active cases of terror in Jammu and Kashmir. He's finally been sentenced to a life in prison in 2 cases. They will run concurrently. So he will spend the rest of his living years in Tihar Central Jail. That's as of now. He's also been fined up to 10 lakh rupees in multiple cases and 10,000 rupees in other cases and 5 years in prison and 10 years. But let's listen into more reactions that are coming in.
ठीक है, मेरा नंबर ले लीजिएगा. I will provide the copy. Court has only pronounced the order on sentence in which he has given sentences in various sections. कई धाराओं में सजा सुनाई है. उसमें 121 IPC और 17 UAPA के अंदर उन्होंने उम्र कैद की सजा सुनाई है. But the maximum sentence could have been a death sentence. Maximum sentence, but लेकिन court has also looked into the past antecedent and also the probability of the reformation of any of the accused whenever any sentence is decided. Total जुर्माना कितना होगा लगभग? Total जुर्माना मेरे हिसाब से जो देख के समझ में आ रहा 11 के आसपास आएगा. 11 लाख के आसपास. हाँ जी. 11 लाख के आसपास. 11 लाख के आसपास कह रहे हैं. हाँ. क्या कुछ आज एक मिनट सर आज क्या कुछ एक मिनट क्या यार फिर आप ही कर लो मेरे यार. ये पहले जो क्या हुआ डीडी का माइक है थोड़ा सा विस्तार में. अरे आप नाराज ना कर लो, निकल लो. एक साथ करना था ना यार. एक साथ नहीं करना ना. या फोटो ले लो ना आराम से. सर आज डबल नंबर दे दे. सर आप केस की थे सर, आज क्या पूरा मामला हो? सर लाइव है. आ रहा हूँ. क्या हुआ सर बताइए क्या हुआ? सर आज कोर्ट में मैटर फिक्स था ऑन द पॉइंट ऑफ, इंग्लिश में बोल सकते हैं, ऑन द पॉइंट ऑफ quantum of sentence to be awarded in the judgment which was pronounced on 19th of May 2022 in State versus Hafiz Saeed, in which Yasin Malik was one of the accused as accused number 14. Okay. Both the party, the state which is NIA in the present case, and I as a amicus curiae appointed by the Honorable Court, both people argued regarding the quantum of the sentence. Under section 1921 IPC, the maximum sentence was death or the capital punishment, and the minimum punishment was life imprisonment. Both the parties, NIA asked for a capital punishment, and I, being a amicus curiae, I requested before the Honorable Court to award a life imprisonment, which was the minimum sentence in the sentences in which he has been convicted.
Sir, what was the matter of plea? What was the matter of plea? What Malik said? What was the matter of plea? I am asking. What Malik said when judge asked him? You have just said.
Malik has stated before the Honorable Court that he is totally satisfied by the Honorable Court decision, and he is fully satisfied with all the legal assistance he has been provided to him during the course of the, on the point of the plead guilty and the sentence and also the judgment.
What will be the further process? Now the people can go to High Court also?
Sir, once the person plead guilty, then there is a very less chances that he can challenge the sentence order, because he himself stated that he has committed those crimes. So only the sentence or only the challenge will be regarding the quantum of the sentence, that not more than that. Sir, total जुर्माना 11 लाख के आसपास लगा होगा.
सर क्या कुछ आज कोर्ट में हुआ सर?
Gaurav, as we watch these proceedings of the court, as I watch this man walking out of the court, knowing he's convicted, knowing he has been exposed, it is a big day, because this reminds us that our courts are ensuring that terrorists like him will not get away easily.
And here was a man who actually confessed to all his charges. He pleaded guilty, and as the learned amicus curiae or the friend of the court was mentioning, to journalists, that once he's pleaded guilty, once he's been sentenced, He cannot go and appeal against the sentence to a superior court. Very little chance of that. But the NIA will take a call whether the NIA wants to appeal against life in prison and seek the death penalty, because the NIA sought capital punishment in both cases of terror funding, where he is one of the accused, and Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, the Pakistani terrorist, is the main accused in the terror financing case. Remember, these are cases that are pertaining to 2016-17, where Pakistani money was used to fuel terror in Jammu and Kashmir, and Yasin Malik stands accused or now convicted of organizing those protests after terrorist Burhan Wani was killed while claiming to be a peaceful Gandhian.
It is also important to understand how the National Investigative Agencies ensured that they gather strong evidence to be put in court, whether it was the conversations, whether it was digital evidence, whether it was accounts they managed, Gaurav. They ensured this is an opportunity. They had to be sure. They had solid evidence, and that is the reason that minimum at least life imprisonment is the quantum that has been given. NI prosecutors are likely to, of course, possibly take this further.
You know, you have the courts that are watching this very carefully. You have hostile elements from across the border who are already crying themselves hoarse given the sentencing, because they realize that one of the main conduits of Pakistan's state-sponsored terror in Jammu and Kashmir has been sentenced to a life in prison in one case. He's facing trials where charges have been framed in multiple cases, including the murder of 4 Indian Air Force personnel and the abduction of the daughter of then Union Home Minister of India Rubaiya Saeed, sister of former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti. So those cases, the trial is continuing and charges have been framed, and action is likely to be taken soon in them. And I want to quickly bring in Shreya Chatterjee for more, Pooja, in this conversation. Shreya, give us details of the kind of evidence NIA had gathered against Yasin Malik in terms of terror funding from Pakistan.
Well, Gaurav, when NIA was investigating the case, which it is registered in 2017, they had got digital evidences. They had also got transactions. Because remember, there were shell companies that were flouted, Hawala routes that were created, and then money was pumped in from UAE, from Pakistan, by ISI agencies into the valley to create an atmosphere of terror. Now, we also do know that during the raids from Yasin Malik's home, a note was also recovered where there was clear instructions given that the youth should be disengaged and then used for stone pelting. Remember, it's the same period of time when 89 cases of stone pelting was registered in the valley. So there is incriminating evidence against Yasin Malik. There is an establishment of the fact that money was indeed received by Yasin Malik, because Zahur Batali, one of the Kashmir businessmen who was the Hawala conduit, who was helping in getting the money, there was a transaction detail that the NIA had recovered of 15 lakhs that was transferred from Zahur Batali to Yasin Malik. So definitely there was incriminating evidences why the charges were framed, and then we also saw Yasin Malik plead guilty on the 10th of May, and finally today the court has pronounced the order, and life imprisonment is the maximum that Yasin Malik has got under the sections 121 and 17 UAPA.